Bum bum, how's it going? Welcome to another yet my best property, and I'm hanging out with none other than Ndumiso from Ekasi Property. But before I go any further, if you were thinking that properties are only done in particular neighborhoods, we are out and about in Ebony Park. And if you don't know where Ebony Park is, it's in the heart, just next door to Midrand. So it's in the heart of Johannesburg, so to speak. So welcome, how's it going?
Thanks DJ, I'm good. How's it guys?
Awesome stuff. Ndumiso, you kind of like invest in Ekasi. And what's Ekasi investment, Ndumiso?
Ekasi is investing in the townships.
Right.
The old
high density suburbs.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, where people are. Doesn't really work if you go and invest in places where you generally don't know much about, so you better invest in your own neighborhood. So that's what we do here. We're investing in our own neighborhood and helping our own people.
Okay, good stuff. As you can see on the streets here, if we are to go in down the street here, there's like plenty of houses, right? A house there, and some of these houses, they come through. If we are to look at our back here, there's a kind of like a high rise. But all of these houses, this is like a proper neighborhood. It's been set up already. So what do you do? Do you come in and build? Do you buy a land? Do you buy the property already? How does it work in this area, which is Ebony Park?
In this area,
yeah.
When we got in here, there were already houses, as you can see.
Okay, good.
In most of these stands that
Right.
you can see here, even in the high rise that you spoke about, there was a house there. Some
Okay.
people then they buy houses and then they demolish them, and
Right.
then they build the high rise or whatever structure that they want. But what I do specifically, I do not demolish anything. I keep
Yeah.
the houses as they are, and then just build rooms around the houses.
Awesome stuff. But who's Ndumiso though? I mean, we're starting to talk about your neighborhood, but who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, that's a very difficult question, DJ. Who am I? I'm a lot of things. I'm a property investor. I'm a property educator.
Right.
As far as investments are concerned, I invest mainly Kokas.
Right.
And then I'm also full-time employed at this stage. I work as an accountant.
So you're an accountant by profession, and you are still in a job, but you do investments on the side. So you got a side hustle, and you're doing that, and it's got no effect on your job, and you're balancing the two.
Exactly. That's exactly why I decided. When I decided on the side hustle,
Yeah.
I then thought property is the way to go.
Why property though?
Because with property, you don't have to be there on a full-time basis.
Sure.
If there is something that needs your attention, you can get someone else to do it.
Okay.
Whereas with most jobs,
Yeah.
it's difficult to get someone else to do it. For instance, with my work, full-time employment, I can't ask you to go and attend to my responsibilities at
100%.
my full-time employment.
Yes.
But I can ask you as TJ, you know now my property, if there's something going on here, I can
Yeah.
ask you to come here. I can give a call to one of my service providers to come and sort out issues here. I do not have to be here
100%.
personally.
Okay, awesome. We're gonna go into the house that Ndumiso has just bought, and this is his best property. So we're gonna go inside now, and whilst we're going inside, we want to talk about actually this house that Ndumiso has bought. And like it is, it is my best property. It is his best property, and why we're gonna find out on why it is his best property, and we'll talk about it. Let's check you out inside. Right, Ndumiso, we are now at the back of your property as we are sitting here. And ladies and gentlemen, property investors, we are always on our feet to make sure that we are getting to all the deals. But because Ndumiso kind of like had his back, we have to sit down, and this is the ever show that I've ever had to do whilst I'm sitting down. But I mean, we have to accommodate each other. So, Ndumiso, this particular property here that you bought, right? In a nutshell, at average in this area here in Ebony Park, these properties that you buy, what's the average pricing on it?
You mean currently? What's the market price currently?
Yeah.
You talking between 650 and 700, without the rooms, just the property itself, just the house
Just
and
the
the
property.
yard.
Okay, and that generally comes with what's the description? Are those 2 beds, 3 beds? What is it?
We're talking just 2 beds.
So it's a 2-bed,
Yeah,
1 bath.
45 square meters, 2 beds, 1 bath. There's a small kitchenette,
Yeah.
and a small sitting room.
And this looks like a sizable land. What's the size of the land though, that is around the yard?
This is 350, if I'm not mistaken, square meters.
So 350, you're buying that for around about 650 to 700. But are you buying them at that price, or within your buying strategy? Let's talk about this property that you bought here. What was your buying price on this property?
It was 150,000.
Yo! Let's ask the question that I'm going to ask is, why so low, and when did you buy?
I won't say low. I think the second question is the
Low is relative.
descriptor. Yeah.
Right.
I got this property in 2006.
Right, so you bought it in 2006, and Ebony Park, if I remember very well, at the time that's when it was just coming up.
Yes.
As a
yes.
neighborhood.
Yes.
So is your strategy now to kind of like look at townships that are coming up and then you buy early? What is your strategy there? I mean, I'm just
Yes.
now thinking.
Yes. The thing is that with the old townships,
Right.
the prices get to be very high. For instance, I've not bought a property here now since around Midrand, since I think 2016, 2017.
Right.
I've not bought that was the last time when I bought my last property here.
Okay.
Because the prices have gone too high, the returns tends to be very low. Although in Midrand you don't really struggle with getting tenants.
Right.
It's a high density area and it's central to Johannesburg, Pretoria. There is the airport that side,
Right.
and it's an upcoming area. But yeah, I look at the upcoming townships and then go and invest there.
So when you're buying, for instance, I mean, this is a couple of years ago, right? When you bought it 150. What's your strategy when you're buying? Are you buying cash? Are you using the bank's money? And I'm just trying to understand that, because then I see that you've got outside structures on the property. So the thinking there now is, when you're buying, how do you buy and how do you then achieve to this?
When I bought specifically this property, and this is why this is my best property, there was no strategy here. I was just buying a property because a friend was selling a property. I
like your honesty.
I did not even think that this is an investment. I was just buying a house. That's all I was buying.
Ndumiso, I think you speak to where a lot of people are, or where we see ourselves in. And when I say that, so there's a lot of people that either their parents have left them with a house.
Yes.
So by default, you now have this property.
Yes.
And there's no strategy there, right? That's number one. Number two, you could be working for Transnet or any of these big companies, and they move you from town to town.
Yes.
And for that reason, all of a sudden, you now have a house that you were staying in, but now you're forced to go and sit in another town. But you don't sell because you love the house. But again, there is no strategy.
Yes.
Right? For you, when did, we speak of these strategies now, and we look like we are all clever and all of those things, but we are not. Me and you, we had to go to school, right? So when did this strategy thing starts coming into play in your head, and how did you actually now start to do it intentionally?
Maybe let's just start where you started with the question. The number of people, black people that are out there sitting on massive gold is unimaginable.
Right.
Like you said, people are left to inherit houses,
Yeah.
and they don't really know what to do with those houses. They don't know that they're actually sitting on gold.
Sure.
That's why I then started Ekasi Properties, where we educate other young black people in terms of what to do with their own properties. That what is property as an investment.
But why black people? Why not Indian? Why not colored? Why not white people?
I'm specifically saying black people because, as you can hear from the name, it says Ekasi.
Yeah.
There are very few white, Indian, and colored people. But basically, it's our people. It's anyone who does not. We don't exclude. We're not going to say to you, no, don't come and attend our Saturday sessions because you don't look like us.
Sure.
We educate everyone. But
Right.
the focus is, I'm just saying black people because we're talking about things that we specifically know about.
Right.
We're talking about instances of people that tend to fight about properties. We're talking about instances where people have got a property that lands on their lap and they don't know that they are sitting on gold. Like I said to you, when I bought this property, I did not see an investment. I just saw a house
Yeah.
that I can live in. Instead of renting, let me buy and come and live in a house. And
Yeah.
as a result, I came here and I lived here for, I think it was 2 years. And
Yeah.
then the reason why I moved was because of I got a job somewhere else. Then I had to move and to that
Oh, I
job.
was talking about you actually. Right.
But by the time I moved, I had started with the development of the back structures. And even that, there was no strategy there. I just saw neighbors doing it. I thought, why not? Let me do it. I don't want to sell the house.
Yeah.
Let me just build the structures at the back and rent them out. So that when I leave, at least I've got some sizable income.
So when you're talking about the back structures that you've got, and we're just going to do a walkthrough now on how many rooms you've got, and this is what we traditionally call backrooms.
Yes.
Right. What is backrooms?
Backrooms is structures that just outside the house. It could be a brick and mortar structure,
Yeah.
or it could be umkuku, or a
Right.
shack as we know it. That
Yeah.
is still
Zozo.
yes, as
Wendy
also
house.
a Wendy house. Whatever the case you do,
Yeah.
whatever the owner decides to put as a backroom, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what a backroom is. It then depends on what you want to do with that structure. I started here. I built the backrooms, which is just a simple space. Just see a space, 4 walls,
Yeah.
with nothing else inside.
Right.
No built-ins, no toilet, no kitchen, nothing. Just a space. The tenant comes in and then they do whatever they structure their room as whatever they wanted. That is where I started. That is where I started. I'm totally somewhere else now, but that was my beginning structure. This is what we have here, where we are in the property where we are.
100%. So you speak of this idea of building backrooms. So what's the compliance around them when you're building a backroom, right? So for instance, when you bought this house, did you buy it off from an estate agent? Like, just walk us through how you've literally found this place here. And I know it's a while ago, but what was the process of you buying this house? I'm sure that process still applies today.
Yeah, no, it is. This one, a friend of mine, we're working together, we're also friends. He told me that he was selling a house.
Right.
And then I said I would like to see it, and then I came to see it.
Yeah.
And then we agreed on the price. Like I said to you, I don't know whether it was overvalued or it was undervalued.
It was what it is, and you just
I
bought
just accepted it.
it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So there was no estate agent involved, friend to a friend.
No, yes, yeah. But after we agreed,
Right.
he then introduced an estate agent who we had to sign the OTP with, the offer to purchase with.
Okay, good.
And then we signed the offer to purchase. And then the funny thing is, few days later, he said I must call the estate agent and tell him that I do not want to buy the property anymore, because he then realized that he needs to pay commission.
Oh. Okay. So did you go through with that?
No. I disappointed him. I said no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. But then the estate agent was involved
Sure.
in that way. He did not necessarily market the price. I must be honest. I don't know whether he was marketing the property, but we had a deal together.
Sure.
Directly.
Right. And then thereafter, so now you've got the property, you've got this offer to purchase now. And what did you do? Did you go to your bank? How did you then finance the property?
The estate agent then submitted the documents to the bank. I guess then he worked with the bond originators. I don't know. At that point in time, I did not know the difference of.
I like your honesty in terms of I don't know, because when I first bought my first property, there's lots of things that happened that I now know. At that time, my estate agent would just call me and say, we need 10,000 for this, we need this for this. And I think everything just went, I don't want to say smooth,
Yes.
but it went.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they told me the keys are available. And I think there's lots of us who go through such a kind of processes and we actually don't know or question, can I do this so that it's in my favor? And we don't ask that. With what you now know now, you now teach others.
Yes.
What would you recommend? I know nothing about property and I'm wanting to buy. I know of a township somewhere. It could be in Johannesburg, Pretoria, Durban, Limpopo, it doesn't matter. But I know of similar things and I can relate here that you can buy a small house and maybe you can put backrooms like what you've done here. What would you recommend that person to do with what you now know today?
Yeah, starting to just what we know today. There's a deal that I signed yesterday.
Sure.
And I can tell you, I asked the estate agent, he was telling me that the particular bank has given us the best deal. I said to her, I want both codes,
Right.
so that I can compare
Right.
and see how much is the interest rate, how much are the initiation fees, and all those things that are applicable in the deal.
You want to
So-
be in control.
Now I know, so I
Right.
want to know everything and make sure that I'm saving that 100 or the 200, and I'm not just taking what the bond originator says to me, you must take. But as far as the process of buying now, as to what a new investor needs to do, I think if you wanting to get into property, whether we're talking just a normal house you want to stay in, or you're already thinking investment, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to educate yourself.
Okay.
You see, me and you, we were lucky that we managed to survive, whether we were robbed or cheated, or by cheated I don't mean like space. I know there are scams that could literally cheat you, but I mean at that point in time I did not even know what was the market value here. I did not even negotiate the price. He just said 150. I thought, no, I think I would qualify for 150.
Sure.
Then I bought the
So
property.
which means you might have bought it for 100. You couldn't.
I couldn't.
But you didn't know what you didn't know. So
Yes, yeah. For instance, he had bought it for 50. Yeah, I think he bought it for 50.
how did you know?
He told me that he bought he bought it for 50. But he told me after the fact.
Yeah.
He bought it for 50 in 2000 and I think it was 2001, 2002.
Okay.
He sold it 3 times the price in 2006.
I would have felt bad, man. I would have felt like cheated. I would have felt like this guy is taking me for a ride.
Yeah.
3 times more.
Now, okay, I at that particular point in time, I did not feel being cheated.
Yeah.
But even now, I don't regret buying here.
Sure. Why don't you regret not buying it here? You came in and you stayed here for 2 years.
Yeah,
So
2
it was home for you for 2 years. And you built the back room. So you got a bond on it for 150. the value now is sitting around about 6 to 700 because of what's happening in the area. Which it has grown 7 times from when you bought.
Exactly.
But from when your other friend bought, it has grown more, right?
Yes.
Which was the initial pricing in the area. You have added in backrooms. What was the cost of, or what is the cost? Because you've got other houses, but what are the costs of building backrooms here? Like how many do you have here, and what's the cost?
Here we've got 6 backrooms.
Right.
I don't know, teacher, I don't want to lie to you. I think I probably spent, I don't know, about at maximum 150,000 building the 6 backrooms. Like I said, with backrooms it depends on the structure that you want to have inside.
Right.
Here I built 6 backrooms, spent 150,000. A few years later, can't remember which year, I built 3 and I spent 250,000 rands because the structure, the rooms are a bit bigger. There is a ensuite toilet and a shower in the kitchen and all of that. So I can't really give you a particular cost for a backroom. It depends on what one needs to do with the backrooms.
Okay, so let's go back to compliance. When you buy a property like this one, obviously it comes with the plans, right?
Yes.
And when you're wanting to build backrooms like these ones, what is the process that one needs to follow for you to be able to to build? Because many people have come in, they've just built, and they then find out they're actually built on someone else's yard on the other side.
Yes.
But I mean, you also teach people how to do it. So what is the process around that?
Yeah, like for instance in our neighborhood, we've got someone who built directly on top of the drainage.
On top of the drainage?
Yes. So so that's how things basically go. But when you buy a stand, you need to take it to the municipality and get approval. The plans must be approved by the municipality.
Right.
Fortunately, in this area, the city of Johannesburg is very friendly in terms of looking at the plans for the rooms.
Okay.
So if you take your plans to the city of Johannesburg, they will look at it and then they will see if it's feasible for the municipality to approve your rooms.
Right. Is there an architect in between? So you need to appoint an architect. So you appoint an architect. The architect goes into the municipality for you. It gets approved.
Yes.
And then thereafter that you can obviously do
your building.
Build. You are no longer staying on this property.
Yeah.
You are renting the full property out. In today's value, so we're saying that it's got an average of 700,000. That's the market value. What is a room? What is the price of a room rental in the area?
If you have a room, depending on the size,
your sizes,
you're probably looking at the rooms at different sizes.
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at.
Give me an average.
You're probably looking at if it's just a room, empty room.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at 1.5, 1.8. If it's just a room, nothing inside.
Sure.
But the moment you put a toilet and a shower, then you're looking at 3,000 on average.
Right. Okay. And that's a nice income. So you've got 6 of those. So we can you got 6, right? So
yes.
2 here, that's 4 here. So at average you are on 1.5. I mean, some of them are smaller and some are bigger, right? So we can say 1.5 times 6 there, and you still have the house that you are renting out as well.
Yes.
And houses, how much do they rent for?
Between 4.5 to 5.5.
To 5.5.
If it's a 3-bedroom, then you're looking at 6,000.
I might as well start to change my strategy and going Ekasi. I understand why you're here.
Yeah, just that we don't want competition.
Yeah, I mean, let's do the maths, right? So you are on 5 on the main house, right? And for the slow people who are slow in mathematics, so that's 3, 6, 9. Right? So now your 9,000, that's your outside rooms plus your 5, that brings you to 14,000. And you have invested 300,000. 150 buying the property, another 150 building the backrooms. That's a good return.
Yeah, it's a healthy return.
Are you happy with it? Not happy with
Very
it?
happy, very happy. Like I said, I don't regret, even if the house was overpriced, I don't regret investing there.
Now that we've gone through the figures, I think the question that we want to ask is why is this your best property? Is it from a number perspective? Because I mean your numbers are just like wow.
Yeah, it's basically everything, TJ. This is where I first landed.
This is where it started.
Yeah, this is where it started.
Sure.
Yeah, when I come here, I see the potential in the area.
Sure.
It's buzzing. As you were driving here, you could probably see it as well. That this area is buzzing. There's a lot of potential here.
It's busy.
It's not just about property, but about there's lots of other things that one can do in this particular area. So that's one thing, and then there is the returns in terms of the monthly rental, but also I've got massive equity that's sitting here. Like I bought the property 150, and now we're talking about 600-700. So I've got equity in this property.
Ndumiso, you're an accountant by profession. That's what you do, you've got so much equity here. And I speak to people, they don't know what equity is. And I think for me, real estate is, that's why I like to go into real estate, because it gives you equity. But for people that don't know what equity is, what is equity and what are you doing with the equity that you might have on this property? But I mean, that's now blanket with all your other properties as well, right? And just give us some insights there.
The easiest definition of equity, I would say, it will be the difference between where your bond liability is at the moment and the market price.
Right.
So it's that difference.
How much you're owing at the bank?
How much you owe at the bank, and how much you can realize if you were to sell the property.
Right. So in other words, it's the profit if you were to sell it.
Yes.
So that's gap there.
Yes.
So in simple mathematics, you bought for 150.
Yes.
With the 150, you put in another 150. So you are now at 300.
Yes.
So your property, let's say a normal one without backrooms would sell for 700. So let's take an assumption that yours might be 800 because of the backrooms, right? So now you've got how much in? 300 minus your 800, so you're left with 400. And 400 is what we are saying is what is called equity.
Yes.
Right, okay. So now we understand what equity is. So, in my book right now, you are 400,000 rich.
Exactly.
You are.
I sleep well at night. I know that actually I'm way more than that, because remember when I came here, I did not know all the strategies that we now know.
Sure.
So I built these rooms for cash.
Right.
So that 150,000 that I spent for the rooms is, we can say loosely that it is part of equity.
Of course,
so
yes.
You're looking at 400 plus 150, that's 550,000.
You are a few hundreds from a millionaire, my guy. I'm hanging out with millionaires right here. But what's the benefit of having, the obvious is what we just spoke about now, right? But from an accounting perspective, and this is where I think a lot of us miss it altogether. And I don't, you could be old, young, black, white, whatever. I think because not a lot of people are in accounting. And not a lot of people know finance, the literacy behind it. They don't know that. So now that you have this equity, what does it actually mean to you, and how can you make it in your favor?
I've used it several times.
Sure.
If you were to go and do the calculations from where we started with the bonds, with the mortgage bond, to where the bond is now, you will see that I've not been paying. You will say I've not been paying a lot towards the bond, because every time I have a deal that I need to make, I include this house, because remember, this house I got it in 2006.
Sure.
And the interest rate that I got there was, I think it was prime minus 2.5 or something like that.
Sure.
So whenever I've got a deal that I need to finalize and I need money, I go to the bank and say, can you give me part of my bond that I've already paid on this house? So I have used this house several times, but the big deal with it is that if I were to need the 450,000 rands, I would then go to the bank and refinance the house. And the bank gives me the 450,000 rands. I don't have to pay SARS on the capital gains.
Yeah.
Why
not?
Because the money is not coming to me. It's a loan that I'm getting from the bank.
Sure.
It's not my profit.
100%.
So in that way, I then not pay the capital gains tax. I then take the 450 and extend my property investment.
I like that. And that allows you to buy more and more properties over a long period of time. You started off 2006, and now you've got a company where you actually teach others. That's number one. And number two, you're actually now doing investments with other people.
Yes.
How does that work?
It's working very well. It's working very well. I've got my investments that are separate.
Yeah. And Ndumiso's, you ring fence that, and that's yours.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then where I go into partnership with other people, because see, if you want real growth, you won't be able to do it by yourself. You need to partner with others.
Yeah.
People can bring either finance or skills or whatever the case may be, so that you can then extend your investment. And you also learn from other people as you're dealing with them. I learn from you, even though we're not in a property deal directly, but
100%.
you do learn from other people. So it's important that as a property investor, you get into a network of people that you know that this is my guys that I can always touch on if I need assistance.
Yeah. Are you only on Ebony Park as a township for your investments, or do you look into different townships across Gauteng?
Yeah, no, I do look into different townships. My strategy is this: I do not want investment that is more than 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live or where I work.
Are you missing out? Cape Town is beautiful, man. The sea is beautiful, the scenery is beautiful, the women are beautiful, the water is beautiful, everything is beautiful in Cape Town.
Yes, yeah, no, sure. There's all kinds of beauty.
In Durban, they call me
everywhere.
uncle. Right? That's why I invest in the other town. You're missing out.
But there is lots of opportunities where I am.
Sure.
I do not want to be far away from my investment. I will tell you a horror story.
Yeah.
One time I was at work. It was around 9:30. And then I got a call from one of the neighbors. And the neighbor said, one of your rooms is burning.
Sure.
So I had to run to the room and to see what is going on.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I gave a call to the municipality, called the neighbors, and then to go and sort it out.
Fire brigade came out.
Within 30 minutes, I was there to see what's going on.
So do you self-manage these properties that you've got now, or do you have third parties, asset agents, property managers? How does that work?
With these ones in Midrand, I manage them myself. But with other ones, then I get property managers to manage it.
Okay. And what your management process? How does that work? Like, you know, if you got a room that's open, I mean, how do you get it out?
With these ones, although I'm saying, because I've tend to be very busy with my Ekasi Properties Saturday sessions. So what I do is, the moment the tenant has told me that they are moving out,
Yeah.
I then get an estate
They
agent.
call you directly.
Yes, yeah.
Sure.
And then I get an estate agent to market the property.
Okay.
And then I pay the estate agent the fixed amount of giving me a
Placement.
tenant, yeah. But also you know that I've got a Facebook site or a Facebook page called Ekasi Properties Group, and that's where everyone that is in the Ekasi Properties market.
Yeah. If you're not on that group, you're missing out.
Yes, yeah. Be on the property, on the Ekasi Properties Group.
Yeah.
So that you can get to know what's going on in the Ekasi market. So I also just place an ad there, and then if I do get calls, and then I refer them to estate agent for viewing, because I can't have the time to be running up and down. But also, and this is why it's nice to invest in Ekasi, I've got a good relationship with my tenants.
Okay.
So if I've got a room that's open, I tell the tenant, one of the tenants, I give them the key, or I say get the key, and then they show the potential tenants as they come into view.
It's almost very much fusing it into a family business.
Yes.
Where you have stronger relationships with your tenants. Doesn't that blur the line a little bit in terms of payments and payments arrangements and evictions and all of those things?
No, not at all. Not at all. Number one, if you are clear in terms of the rules,
Sure.
do not blur the lines.
Right.
It must be clear in terms of the rules that people, they know when they are supposed to pay. If they don't pay, they must know what are the consequences of not paying. The fact that they are assisting me does not necessarily mean that now then they should not do the part in terms of what they need to do. All we are doing here is that we are working as a family.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got a resource that they need, and so do they, and you're meeting each other halfway.
Exactly.
Right. That's a good idea there. I like the way that you do your business. Well done on that. The last question before we jump on to see some of the rooms that you've got outside here is that with what you now know today, where does Ndumiso wants to take his business? You started off on this property, yeah? I mean, I don't know how many properties you now have for tenants. You can tell us. But where do you want? 2006, 2021. So that's what? How many years in between? And your growth from there to here. And where do you want to take this?
Yeah, now I don't do these kinds of investments anymore.
Sure.
Where I buy a house and build backrooms. I prefer now to buy land and build.
Why?
So like a proper investment. No, you
make it sound like this is not a proper investment.
No, I mean a proper development.
This is an awesome investment. 150,000. You're getting what? 20 grand. It beats the banking system at the moment where people are getting 4%.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
Right. So you now in the development space. You buy land and you develop it. You develop it for houses?
No.
What do you
still the same kind of, not the same kind of structure, but bachelor apartments.
Bachelor apartments. So you're buying piece of land. How big normally do you buy?
It depends. Anything from 500,000 square meters to I don't know. There's no limit as far as where one can go with the land.
Your last project. Let's speak of your last project. Your last development.
Yeah.
How big was the land?
The land that we're currently working on now is 1,600 square meters.
Okay. And how many units are you doing there?
Looking at 16 units.
You're looking at 16 units. 16 units, so you're going up.
Yes.
Right? And again, that's in Ebony ways.
No, that's in Soshanguve.
Soshanguve. So you've gone into another town.
Yes.
Different township altogether. Why Soshanguve?
Like where we started, that area in Soshanguve is because of number one, starting up, but number two, Soshanguve is also a buzz with activities. I've also noticed that people from Ekasi, they don't necessarily want to leave Ekasi. They might want to move out of the home, but they do not want to leave their sense of belonging and the environment.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they move around.
Yes.
And as they move around, you're saying, hey, I'm going to provide accommodation for you.
Yes.
And better quality accommodation.
Yes.
So you've moved away now from rooms, and you're now into a self-contained unit, own kitchen, own bathroom, lock up and go, just like what you get in Santa.
Exactly.
Or in any of these other suburb places that they talk about. And you localized it, right, to what the people can afford. That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's all the learning that one has gotten in the past few years.
Sure.
Also, you start and then you learn and you learn. You see what works for you. You see where you wanna go. You see what you want to do, and then you adjust the strategy as you go.
Awesome stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ndumiso from Ekasi Properties. But we're not going to end it here. We will not deprive you of checking out, obviously, what the backrooms look like. And remember, this is where it all started. And I think the real story here for me is that you might start from wherever you started off from, right? And how do you build on from there to where you want to be? And with wherever you are, there is always property investment opportunities for people like you and me. Let's check out how the other properties, the other rooms look like.
Yes, yeah. Security is a concern in South Africa. I guess anywhere and everywhere you are, you can't just have a door. You need to have some kind of security.
Okay, good. So there's room number one here. So obviously on that side here is the actual house,
Yes.
right? And you've got one tenant in the house.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So there's a family here.
Family that lives in the house.
And there is someone else's here.
Yes.
Right? So that's room 2. Cool.
Yes.
Right? And we are going to jump into room number 3.
Yes.
Okay? But whilst we are still outside, so you got how many units altogether outside?
I've got 6 units outside. You've
6.
got a toilet and a space to wash.
So on my far right, left here, is the toilet there.
That's the space to bath.
And we're going to jump in now into the actual. So this is one of the rooms that, so you say that, all of the rooms that we've seen, which kind of like looks to me like a 4x3, so it's 12 squares, and you getting 1,500?
Yes.
1,500 for this.
On average, yes, yeah.
At average, right? But obviously, the bigger the size,
the higher the rent.
We've got your bed here. This is a double bed for the guy who stays here.
Yes.
They've got their wardrobe here. They've got their TV here. And on this side here is their kitchen space.
Yes.
Right? And there's their
fridge.
Their fridge. This is like it's a room, one person living here, and that's it.
It's enough. It's enough.
Right?
There is no. Sometimes we tend to exaggerate things. TK.
Sure.
We tend to say no, the space is too small and wara wara. But
Yeah.
if you can get a space to live, you're here to work. You're not here to be too comfortable and all of that.
Yeah.
You're here to work. You've got a space where you can put your bed. You've got a space where you have your TV. Everything that you need in this room, you do get.
I think that's another concept in Ndumiso that you've just brought in. You are here to work. So a lot of guys that are here, they're coming from somewhere.
Yes.
From another town, another country, and they're coming to Johannesburg to work. And they don't have wives and things like that. They're here to work, whether it's a man or a man. They're literally just wanting somewhere to sleep, chill over the weekend.
Yes.
Right? And they want to pay as minimum as possible because they might be building or doing other things back at
Yes.
whether it could be KZN, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, we don't know. Amazing things.
Yeah. Just need a space where you can put your head on.
100%.
As far as you can see, talking about a guy who's here on his own, as far as the wife is concerned, you see the bed is big enough for 2 people.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ndumiso, where we were checking out one of his properties, and he's called this his best property, and the reason obviously was that on this property, this is where he started off. Everything. But he started off without knowing anything. And he obviously has back rooms around it that we have shown now. And you too can do the same. Nothing can stop you. But as Ndumiso said, learn first how to do it. And then you can go and do it. My name is TJ. We'll check you out on the next video.